Don't ask me why, but the audio is broken for some reason on my RetroArch right now, so I do apologize that there's no backing for my terrible voice, but that's where we sit. Basically, we're here to talk about kind of a follow up to the game set review I did for Legacy Yellow quite a bit ago. It's been quite a few months at this point, but this is pure RGB, which is just like in general a pretty good hack of Gen 1. I'm pretty rough on Gen 1. I've played Gen 1 a ridiculous amount, but I enjoy this hack to a pretty high degree. We might run into a couple trainers here because nope, I did it correctly because it's not just a you know a let's flesh out, let's fix the little bugs of Gen 1 and call it a full exploration of what Gen 1 could be. This really goes into a lot, and I do mean a lot of different stuff. Right here, for example, we have special sprites, and we have a special dungeon. This is where you can get Moltres. We'll actually walk all the way up if we can here. Not having audio is really weird, but in this area, we get burned if you're not a fire. I think you have to be a ground type as well, or fire, ground, and rock, maybe. Don't remember. But basically, this replaces Victory Road Moltres. Really interesting. But ignoring that, I want to talk about like why I like this over Legacy Yellow, because I do think it's kind of fair that my criticisms of Legacy Yellow are very for some are very like loose and not not agreed upon, which is fine. Everybody has different opinions, and that's perfectly acceptable. But in this case, I happen to really think that a Gen 1 hack that just fixes stuff, has, the trade evolutions, has just basic stuff like the chance to hit isn't as busted. A lot of the minor changes has been fixed. Uh, it's it's not as much as effort as you would think at this point, and just adding new stuff I think is really really cool. uh some is a little whack, but I mean at the same time we do get a better challenge as we go along, and we get to enjoy and play different stuff with better hacks like this. What are we doing? We're doing Blaine, but we're in a special challenge arena. Uh, anyway, the difference of this hack is that it adds areas like this that I do think don't need to exist, right? This is just an outside perspective thing, but it's a bonus challenge at the end once you've become champion. See, I don't have music, which really sucks because there's actually different music here. So, yeah, when it comes down to it, I really did enjoy this hack overall. I do think it is possibly one of my personal favorite showcases of what you could do with a little bit of. We're gonna get flinched here, by the way. Which I'll get into why I think this is probably the bigger problem with the hack. But uh, I enjoyed the set a lot. I do think the set is quite expansive. It covers, oh, in my opinion, a little too much. It covers some really weird stuff in it. Like one of the things is that some Pokemon have like bonus power to like certain moves of theirs. Like Electabuzz is Thunder Punch, Acid for Arbok, and like Dragon Rage for Dragonite. And so it does a cool showcase of showing that, which is fine, but having achievements for it is kind of unnecessary. There's also powering up Pokemon in different ways. A great example is going back to the elemental punches. Magmar, you can get the fire punch boost, but at the same time, you can also go into the volcano where we were to the left instead of straight up, and you could turn it into a fire magma type, which makes it super weak to ground, but it's immune to water and fire, which is a really cool thing. You see a powered up Mewtwo right in front of you. I don't actually know the difference, but it's there. It takes a puzzle, which is really nice. Uh, and you can even capture Missing No. And funnily enough, I don't think Missing No was the end all be all thing for my game. Like I caught it, I went, "That's cool," uh, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff. One of the really, I really want to say this is one of the best changes I've ever seen in a Gen One like hack or anything that expands just a little bit is the disappearance of the experience all into the booster chip. The booster chip, even if it was just 1.2 times multiplier to experience, it would be a hell of a lot better than what the experience all is a 1.5 times multiplier, which is very enjoyable. Uh, we're not going to keep this going. We're going to go explore a bit. But when it comes down to it, I think the booster chip is one of the best additions here. But not everything is a positive spin. While I would love to sit here and really just like agree with all the changes in this game, I happen to think that this actually goes a little too far in one direction with the moves. If you look at the entire move decks, which you can look at it, there's a few added moves like Roost is in the game. Firewall is a move that's it burns opponents and then it does more damage as it hits. But there's a bunch of different moves that are in the game, and some are changed for some insane quality, I guess. Uh, when it comes down to it, we saw Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom actually is a priority move, and if it's the first move that the Pokemon has done, it flinches. It's also Ghost type, so cool. I don't get me wrong; it's not like necessarily like super awkward. I just happen to think it's a little too far in one direction. It's not necessarily. Ooh, look at this. Yeah, we'll eavesdrop. Still believe. Oh yeah, this is some interesting stuff. There's a lot of different people you can meet up. Uh, like I think the one that I just saw was um, Sabrina and Erica, so it's pretty cool. I love the additions here, but yeah, there's a lot of move problems in my opinion. Like for example, Cut is actually a bug type, um, which don't get me wrong, I think is good to actually have a actual what's it called a actual bug type move that is usable on Scyther or basically any bug type that wants to use it. um and don't get me wrong, some moves I do agree with, like Karate Chop is fighting. It makes sense. It's not necessary, but considering there's a bunch of fighting type changes, it's also a little flooded in my opinion. uh Submission's a lot better. It's basically power up punch a little better. uh by the way, for people that are gonna play the set, really good place to level up your Pokemon. Uh, Most of the time, I think it's like 80% is Chansey in here, and it's pretty high level Chansey. So if you really want to, you can do some decent level grinding. I mean, just an example right here, level 46, which I've seen level 60 in here. Uh, so if you're pretty low level, which level 72 is your rival in the league the first time through, if you're really struggling, uh, there's some decent experience to be found here. Uh, but when it comes down to the move thing, it's just a small nitpick. I love the quality of life. There's a lot of different stuff that makes the Kanto feel more alive, which is a really odd thing to say because like Kanto is pretty empty if you look at a lot of areas. But a great example is just going into the underground passage right here. Like, yeah, this is empty in normal gameplay, but hey, there's somebody there, and uh, there's people walking around. It feels pretty good. It's just a little addition, but it goes a long way. And there's a little cave here which has a little side quest where you could power up your Onyx. It makes the Kanto like straight line that it ends up becoming feel much more like squiggly and much more involved. There's stuff that goes on that is interesting. We have a little building that was added here that doesn't change much, but you can go in the side and you can find a whole new area. It's just small changes like this that I do think makes this probably one of my favorite hacks I've ever played. It's not expansive to an insane degree like some of the full on edged, like full on just edgy hacks that cover as much as they can. Physical special split, fairy type added, 4 billion moves added, super elite level teams that you have to play. Like it's just it it does enough with the Gen 1 formula. It changes some stuff a little too much, but man, it covers everything I want. It is truly what I think a Gen 1 hack should strive to be. Uh, it just does a great job. I think I already did this, and I don't think it actually. Yeah, I see. You can find Mew here. One of the coolest things, by the way, is that if you activate Surf, you can then do this, which is really cool. But yeah, I can't sing this hack's praises enough, and I do want to say to the set designer over on RA did a fantastic job as well. I do think this is one of my personal favorite like collaborations of a set and a hack. It really feels like everything was well regarded. It explores a lot of the side areas, and while I don't really care about the special moves gain achievements, it covers powering up a Magmar, for instance, the special thing, the Dragonair, making an ice type, which is something I didn't even cover. It covers everything that I think is very important. This champ area we were at earlier, it covers a weird thing with like Gengar turning into Haunter, uh, putting the Marowak to rest. There's so much that the set covers, and this hack is able to also add without feeling too insane. That I think it makes a fantastic like collaboration. This is truly one of the best sets in my opinion for a Pokemon hack, and I'd even argue for Pokemon in general. If you want to play a hack that isn't too involved with a ridiculous amount of Pokemon to catch, this is definitely one of the better options. And I really just can't sing enough praise to this hack and this achievement set. They both, in my heart of hearts, they both sit at a 9 out of 10. They aren't perfect in either regard. There's, small nitpicks, and that's why they aren't a 10 out of 10. But when it comes down to it, this covers almost everything I would want, and at the same time, it doesn't overcover to an insane degree. Some of it, yeah, but it's fine. 9 out of 10 all the way around the board. Very enjoyable. If you're a Pokemon fan, please check out the hack at least. And if you play Pokemon on RA, I recommend checking out PureRGB. Not only is it a great hack, as I've already explained, it's a great set. It really feels like a great mesh.